Hello, back again. This is segment 2B. Got segment, a short video of 2A, and this is segment 2B of Harry Ellis Ray, 18-year journey. Now we're going to move on up to his childhood. We left the hospital. He grew up on South 2nd Street. He loved South 2nd Street. That was his stumping ground. He met friends across the street in 312, and they was friends throughout life. But nevertheless, Harry, like I said, my brother Don, he wore the shoes of the father for all of my children. And he loved Harry. Because him and Harry's father was very, 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 very close. But nevertheless, like I said, Harry's dad was a Rolling Stone. He was here, he was there, but he always managed to surface at the right time, I guess you say. But nevertheless, Harry, I often wondered, even though Don was, he loved his Uncle Don, I believe sometimes Harry, wished that his father was in his life. He'd come and go, come and go. Harry, at the age of, 10 years old. Well, let me go back. I ended up getting married to a preacher because at that time, early part of Harry's life, like 1 year old or whatever, and I was in church. So I ended up getting married to a preacher that was much older than me, but he didn't have a child in the world, and he gave my children the best life with Harry and Drea and Michelle. That was my three. And he treated them like his own children. And Harry he cared a lot for Reverend Fitzgerald. And my girls did too. After he passed away, I ended up getting married the second time. And the second time, I don't know, Harry wasn't too happy about that, but he got along with it. But because of some of the things that was happening in the marriage, Harry wasn't pleased at all. He started staying down at my mother's house on 2nd. I lived on Sherman. He didn't, sometimes he hear all that arguing, he didn't want to be there. So he's down on 2nd. All right, the second husband ended up, after all the going back and forth, he ended up leaving out my life. I had just had Harry's brother, James, at that time. And I believe, and I had the girl, too, Ebony. So the thing about it is depression and addiction caught me, and it took my life away from me for several years. During that time, Harry never voiced how he felt, but he began to hang out late night with the older guys, just like the record played, he wanted things, he hung out with the older guys. They all loved him, try to help him, but they've done the best they can. But of course, even though they was going the wrong way, they always tried to take care of Harry. But I guess, you can't be so close to a situation and not decide to do it yourself. So Harry was out there, he was out there around the older guys, started doing what the older guys do. But nevertheless, I remember the first time he got arrested was over a bike. Him and his friend took a bike, and Harry ended up getting arrested for it. But life went on. Uncle Don always stayed in Harry's life. He was there all the time. He took the sting out of not having his father around. And Uncle Don was there. And so, thank God, as time went on, I surrendered and I went and got my treatment. I was actually going for 7 months. I was going into treatment. At that time, from Harry getting a little trouble, he ended up at Presley Ridge. He was gone, I was gone, and February the 14th of 96, my mother and father was taking care of my children, but they came in and they took my children. So I was somewhere. Harry was somewhere. The kids was in the CYS system, but Harry, he would write me a letter, said, "Mom, I love you." He said, "As long as I know you doing what you got to do, I'm going to do what I got to do." He always supported me, but he didn't want to talk about that addiction. When Harry began to talk about it after my recovery, I stayed in recovery for years. And when I did resurface, had all of my kids together, we had started a new life, got a new house. We all got back together. We was doing our things with the therapy, da-da-da. Well, Harry, he loved music. And he started, I didn't know what he was writing. He started writing music, And I didn't know that when he go over across the street to a friend house named Cadell, he would stay there so long. And I'm like, "Harry, why you stay out? You got to go to school the next day." And he's like, "Mom, I'm going to go to school." Because he had to catch the bus, go down by Bailey, catch the bus. And I would get at him. But come to find out, he was over there practicing his raps. Wasn't long before he was outside at parties, and then he ended up in contests, and of course winning those contests. It was for sure the talent was definitely in my son, and it didn't do nothing but grow. His dad actually, he would come and go, like I said, but he always would brag about Harry, And my brother Don was so happy. The first contest when Harry won this first contest down Pittsburgh. He wasn't even old enough to get in the bar, but he used one of his friends called Malt. He used his ID and he got in. Well, Harry also came up with his cousin Ivan. They were more like brothers. Ivan was a couple years older, but he couldn't get in. But Harry got in, and that 3-week contest, he won. And when he won that, my brother Don also was in music. Don had just moved in a new house. He made a studio. He bought equipment, everything. He was so proud of Harry. A lot of things I noticed. I want to say, when Harry was getting out of junior high, he wrote a thing one time, and I was cleaning up his room, and I seen it and I read it, and it said, "Who is your idol?" And it was on a yellow piece of paper. I never forget. And he said, "My mother." And then it said, "What qualities do your idol have that you like?" And he wrote, "When my mom start, she don't stop till it's finished." And like I said, he had a sense of humor. When he came home, I was like, "Harry, oh, you wrote this about?" "Oh, I just wrote anything," but I knew that's where his heart was. Harry hollered one time in his whole life. I was trying to get him up to go to school. I was banging on his door. "Wake up, you're going to miss the bus." And he jumped up. He had his own bathroom right next to his room. He jumped up and he hit the wall and he said, "Oh, fuck." And when he said it, I looked at him, he looked at me, and he went in his room and he went to school, he came back, and he stayed around me until he apologized. He said, "I'm sorry." He said, "Mom, I'm so sorry." And that was the first and that was the last time ever. And I'll be back, folks. Okay, here I come. Okay. I'll be back for segment 3. I'm going to take a pause for the cause. And I thank y'all for listening. We got some more segments. So this is June 19th. It is the national holiday for South 2nd. It'll always be the first day of the hardcore. So it always will be a holiday to me. Okay, I'll be back. Tune in later.